Peace and wellness, family. I hope that y'all are well and happy and whole and all that good stuff. The intention for this video is for us to discuss our upcoming full moon in Taurus that we have peaking on November 5th. We are already in the shadow period for that energy. The shadow period started yesterday and it will last until November 8th. So, in this video, we will discuss the meaning of this planetary alignment, how it may impact our energy, and we will identify some practices, journal prompts, crystals, herbs, and all of that that we can implement to utilize this energy for our wellness. Happy November, y'all. We are officially in the 11th month of the year. And I love the month of November so much because to me, it's in full alignment, of course, with this full moon. This full moon is known as the Beaver Moon by the farmers. And I told the wellness community, shout out to the wellness community, butterflies in the sky. I see y'all in the chat, okay? All the butterflies. I love y'all dearly, tribe. But I was telling the wellness community to pay attention to the farmer's almanac, right? And when you see the moons have these interesting names, like this full moon is known as the Beaver Moon, it's because a lot of farmers, especially back in the day, right, indigenous farmers would follow the planetary alignment and they would follow the moon as a signal of the time of year it was, what they should be doing, how to care for the crops, how they should be preparing. And the Beaver Moon is named because during this time of year, they noticed that the beavers start stockpiling and preparing for winter. So this full moon was known as the preparation moon. It is the time that we began to prepare for the transition of seasons, right? So this is the preparation for a transition moon. And to me, November just carries that energy. It carries that beautiful autumn fall energy, but that feeling of we are transitioning to a new season and let's get prepared, right? And it's almost like a calm burst of energy that we begin to get during this time that I love so much. And I hope that y'all are feeling it, right? Now, traditionally during full moons, we know that full moons are all about raising the tide, which elevates the emotions within us. It elevates the divine feminine energy within us. Full moons are in full alignment with divine feminine energy. And Isheshe tradition, which is the African traditional religion out of Nigeria from the Yoruba people, they believe that it is the Orisha Yemoja who is attributed to the full moon, right? The full moon is one of her attributes, one of her safe spaces, right? She's over the full moon and she is the divine mother. So again, the full moon is in deep connection with that divine feminine energy. The divine feminine is all about creativity. It's all about the emotion body. It's all about the desire to nurture and care. The divine feminine is all about flow, right? But it can also be a bit chaotic at times. And the full moon is one of the times where the emotion side of the divine feminine can be chaotic because, again, the full moon elevates the tides. We are more than 70% water, so our emotions are naturally elevated, right? And normally during full moons, people have a tendency to feel very tired, very drained, very sleepy. But this full moon, this Beaver Moon, again, it's a signal to the body, it's a signal to the farmers, it's a signal to the land that a transition is coming. So it's time to prepare. So you may notice that you feel a little more energetic than you normally would during this time. You don't feel the usual tired, drained, I don't have the energy to do this and that. You kind of feel like you want to do something, right? And we have this full moon in the beautiful sign of Taurus. Now, hear me out. And y'all don't start no foolishness. Don't start no mess. So with the hating on a Taurus, okay? I love me a good Taurus. Why? Because Taurus is a fixed earth sign that is ruled by Venus. One thing about Taurus energy that I love so deeply is that Taurus are super reliable. They are going to show up for you. Taurus are very consistent. They're very determined. They're very sure and certain. They are your safe space. And that's something that I love about Taurus so much. I actually have a male friend who is a Taurus. And when I say since we were young, right, since we first met, This brother has always, he's consistent. He's gonna be there. He's gonna show. He's gonna pick you up from the airport. When I moved to, he live in Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, he making sure everything is in a row before I didn't even see my apartment. He came and toured my apartment for me. He's like that go to, like, I'm your brother, I got your back, I'm here, you could call me anytime you need me. And that's Taurus energy. Taurus energy is always going to show up for you because, again, that fixed earth energy. When we're talking about earth signs, we're talking about being secure, being grounded. When we're talking about being fixed, we're talking about being secure, being grounded, being consistent, being certain, right? And that is Taurus energy. So how does that align with this full moon, right? Again, the full moon is peaking in the energy of Taurus. When we have our divine feminine, our high tide divine feminine, our powerful flow, and this moon is a super full moon, meaning that it will be at its closest proximity to Earth during its orbit. That means that the moon will appear larger in the sky. The moon is going to look huge. And this is the most super full moon of all the super full moons of the year. So this is going to be the largest super full moon that we see. The moon will look huge in the sky, but also the energetic pull is more powerful. But what energy is it pulling at? What are we feeling? When you have a full moon in Taurus, oftentimes you are seeking and desiring safety. You're seeking and desiring consistency. You're seeking and desiring tradition, ritual, right? Consistent practice. And that is what this full moon is calling from us. Again, this full moon is the Beaver Moon. It's our preparation for a transition moon. Don't be surprised if you find yourself feeling the pull to really assess your relationships with traditions, rituals, habits, and practices. Okay. Don't be surprised if you find yourself paying attention to what habits you've been implementing and what habits have you been sticking to, assessing their results and how they are, how effective or ineffective they are in your life. And don't be surprised if you find yourself making a pivot, right? Making a pivot in your traditions, your rituals, your habits. That pivot could look like release and should look like releasing habits, traditions, and rituals that are not elevating you, that are not taking you to the next level. If you are in the wellness community, our intention for the month of November is next level November, right? So we are focusing our energy on taking ourselves to the next level. And when I say taking ourselves, I'm talking about going to the next level of our holistic wellness journey. What is your next level? What does your next level look like for your mental wellness, your spiritual wellness, your emotional wellness, your physical wellness? What does your next level look like for your holistic wellness journey? This is a good time to start preparing to implement new practices, habits, and rituals that will help you elevate to that next level. But you also, a part of that preparation, you also have to release the ones that are keeping you stuck, steady, in the same, right? Again, full moon and Taurus energy calls for us to find safety, security, consistency. When we have this full moon in Taurus, it's calling us to prepare for that transition of to our next level of safety, security, consistency. So when you are at your next level, what do your habits, rituals, practices look like? What will you be consistent in? What do you need to turn into a ritual in order for you to be safe, secure, and comfortable at that next level? But the first thing you need to do is identify what the next level looks like for you. Once you are aware of what your next level looks like for you, once you are aware of what that goal is, then you can start to decide what habits, traditions, rituals, practices that you can consistently practice that could get you to that next level. Then you can pay attention to what am I doing right now that's keeping me from elevating to that next level, and that is what you want to release, okay? As we know, full moons are a great time to reflect on our present, reflect on our past, to really get some revelations about things that are kind of holding us back, that are kind of keeping us in a level of complacency. And we get the opportunity to release those in order to kind of get some of that dead weight off of us, right? Release habits, release thought patterns, release people, places that are no longer aligned with you and that are stopping you from elevating and getting to your next level. Okay. Now, with this planetary alignment, of course, we have to talk about how this full moon is sextiling Neptune retrograde and Saturn retrograde. Neptune is our planet of dreams and spirituality, and Saturn is our planet of boundaries and restrictions, right? Sextiling means it's not just harmony, but it's a complementary harmony, meaning that these two energies will work together. So this is a good time, and naturally with the full moon you feel that divine intuition. But with the sextile of Neptune retrograde intensifies that Neptune energy. It elevates the intuition, it elevates our spiritual connection, it also elevates our dreams. Wellness community, we've been talking about how some folks have been struggling with getting a steady night's sleep, right? Some folks have been tossing and turning, and the dreams have been wild and intense. I am some of those folks. I told the community in the chat, I want to say like last week sometime, baby, I've been having full HD IMAX action movie dreams. Okay. I've been the Terminator. I've been everything in a dream. Okay. Everything. I was Batman, Superman. Okay. I was the whole Marvel and DC together in the dreams. Like my dreams have been so action packed and full of everything, baby. But I'm telling y'all, this is the time where you really want to start paying attention, right? There will be a lot of signs, omens, and symbolism in your dreams that are going to come up that will help you for this season of preparation, right? And again, we're preparing for the transition to our next level. And that next level manifestation is going to happen during the new moon, closer towards the end of the month, right? But this full moon is our preparation for that new moon season of moving and elevating to our next level, manifesting our next level. This full moon is centered around releasing things that are blocking you or stopping you from getting to that next level, releasing things that are keeping you complacent where you are, right? And it's interesting because yesterday, the tribe and I, we were watching the film Love, Brooklyn. And something that we talked about was, and I'm trying to remember exactly who said it. I want to say it was either Alicia or Kim. Somebody in the tribe was talking about how in the film they needed to release what was no longer serving them. And something that we gathered as a collective was that it's not necessarily that you only need to release what's no longer serving you. Sometimes you have to also release what still is serving you, right? Because in the film, they you got to watch the movie. Watch Love, Brooklyn with Andre Holland, DeWanda Wise. It's a really good movie, right? But essentially, both parties, the exes who were still in friendship, were still being served by that relationship in different ways, right? Like the placeholder type of situation. Sometimes when it comes to our habits, traditions, thought patterns, practices, etc., sometimes those habits, thought patterns, traditions, rituals are serving us, but they're serving us by making us feel good about being complacent, right? They're making us feel good about staying the same and being exactly where we are. You don't need to do that, right? Don't be stuck in a situation where you are just still and you are the same and you are complacent and you're like, okay, well, this is good enough, right? I feel well, I'm doing okay, this is good enough. This is a good time to really elevate out of that. And like I said, this Neptune retrograde, you will get a lot of that intuitive feeling, right? That intuition will be elevated. Full moons, the intuition is naturally elevated, but the sextile of that Neptune retrograde is going to elevate that intuition anymore. And you will naturally kind of have an idea of, you know what, this is no longer aligned with me. This is no longer elevating me. This is no longer serving me. Like, yeah, it feels good. I know I'm being consistent. I know I'm doing this same old, same old. Check this box off. I got this. It's time to do something else. I want more. I want more, right? So it's that type of feeling. And that sextiling of Saturn retrograde, Saturn is our planet of boundaries and restrictions. Anytime it's retrograde, it brings challenges to that area, and we're being called to step outside of our comfort zone. So sextiling, bringing that sister, that complementary harmony, sextiling, it will be easy to step out of your comfort zone, trying the new practice, trying the new ritual, trying the new tradition. That will feel easy. It will feel somewhat natural. So pay attention to those urges that you get, right? That urge may look like, you know what? I think I want to be more consistent with writing in my journal. And you will just feel the natural urge to write. The natural urge to write. You may feel the natural urge to go to the yoga class. You may feel the natural urge to do something in community, some type of spiritual ritual or tradition. You may feel the natural urge to practice a new type of meditation or a new type of breath work. You may feel the natural urge to go align with a therapist and maybe start therapy, start EMDR, start CBT, start some different type of therapy that's going to really elevate your wellness journey. You will just kind of feel the natural urge to do something new. Follow that urge. And don't be surprised if, again, with that sextiling of Neptune retrograde, you feel the natural intuitive urge to evolve out of some things. Don't ever be afraid to evolve out. Okay, don't ever be afraid to evolve away from some practices, even if these are like the traditional wellness practices that everybody says you should do. You've been there, you've done that. It has served you, you got it. Now it's time to move to the next level. So let me evolve out of that, right? Again, getting out of your comfort zone, following your intuition, which is going to help you get out of your comfort zone, but it will feel easy. That's the sextile energy. It's just going to kind of feel natural to do this new thing and to evolve out of this old thing. It kind of will just naturally happen. And what a lot of y'all may start noticing is that you're not even trying. It's just happening. You're not even trying to do this. Like, it's just moving in divine flow and divine order. You just stumbled upon the new thing and you stumbled out of the old thing. You just woke up one day and realized that you ain't in the vibe to do that no more. That's not your vibe no more. It will feel natural. So I have to tell y'all that this is not something that will be a challenge for anybody, right? It won't feel like a hardship. It's not going to feel like a challenge. It's not going to feel like you're doing something weird or something that doesn't feel natural. This honestly won't even require much effort or much work if you are moving from an intuitive space. That may be the only challenge for people, is to like move intuitively, to follow your natural body rhythm, to follow your natural flow. And what this looks like is when you are walking down a street and you see that yoga studio and something calls you to go in, you go. This may look like when you are sitting in the bed and you get the urge to write and you look over and you see your journal, you pick up the fucking journal and the pen and you start writing, right? Like, follow those urges, follow that intuition, follow that feeling of like, I just want to do this thing. Something is just calling me to this thing. Follow the call, okay? And the other thing I want to talk about as far as planetary alignments is our full moon in Taurus is going to be squaring, which brings some challenge in this area, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, right? As we know, Pluto is our planet of power. Pluto is our planet of generational transformation and revolution. Pluto is in Aquarius, which is all about creative expression, all about independence and freedom. Full moons in Taurus naturally call us to align with the collective, to be very social. So that's another thing. Don't be surprised if you find yourself wanting to do group activities and wanting to do a group wellness practices, right? Wanting to kind of join a ceremony, or again, join a yoga class or a dance class, or do improv or something like that. Or maybe just be with your tribe, be with your friends, be with your family. Also, because of this square, this challenge of our generational planet of power, of revolution, of change, of major systems like the government, don't be surprised if you find yourself being drawn into social issues, right? That activist is woken up within you, right? It elevates within you. Don't be surprised if you find yourself like hyper fixating on one or more social issues, wanting to study and do more research about it. Don't be surprised if you find yourself getting very passionate about a specific social issue. And it may be something that you were completely unaware of last week, right? Like you didn't, you kind of knew, but you wasn't that involved. But all of a sudden this week, you want to get involved and you're in the mood to be a part of change and be a part of like a revolution or a solution in this area. Again, this full moon is not a full moon of difficulty. This full moon is not a full moon of like hardship and challenge and like rough. This full moon will feel easy. It will feel safe. That's Taurus energy. It will feel secure. It will feel grounded. That's Taurus energy. When you find yourself being drawn to these social issues and you find yourself wanting to tap into that activist energy, the best way for you to do it with this full moon in Taurus is ask yourself how you can use your natural passions to be a part of the solution. How can you use your natural creative gifts to be a part of the solution? You don't have to jump on the bandwagon of solutions or jump on the bandwagon of activism and do what people tell you it looks like to be an activist or be a part of change in this area. Follow your natural path of your passions and ask yourself, how can I contribute my passions to the positive evolution and solution of this social issue? Right. So that Pluto retrograde squaring our full moon in Taurus, everybody will be challenged to kind of get involved socially. Everybody will be drawn into collective issues. And collective doesn't just mean global. Collective also means like things going on in your family circle, things going on in your friend group. And you kind of just feel naturally drawn to be a part of the solution. But ask yourself, how can your natural gifts and passions contribute to the solution in that area? Okay. So I think I touched on everything. We talked about the fact that this is a super moon. We talked about the fact that this is a Beaver moon and it's a time for preparation for transition. Um, we talked about the sextiling of Neptune retrograde, Saturn retrograde. Of course, this full moon, the full moons are always opposing the sun. So this full moon is opposing the sun in Scorpio. We talked about Scorpio a little bit with the last new moon, right? We talked about that energy, that water energy of Scorpio, right? And understanding that when you have that water energy and you have that divine flow, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, right? The sun is our connection between our Ori and the highest divine self. So, highest divine source. So the sun is the connection between the highest divine self, also known as the Ori, and the highest divine source. So again, that oppositions kind of bring us challenges in a sense where you may feel a bit off balance, but it's not going to be off balance in a way of like, oh, you will feel out of your mind or feel challenged when it comes to following your intuition. What's going to help restore balance is that sextile energy. So it's not going to feel it's not going to feel weird. It's not going to feel like you're struggling to tap into your intuition or struggling to follow your Ori. That the Neptune retrograde sextile with the full moon is going to bring ease to that area. So I can't say enough that this full moon is not a full moon of difficulty. This full moon is not a full moon of challenge, right? I see that Amina said Mercury retrograde. I was going to do a separate video about Mercury retrograde. I could touch on it in this one. Mercury is going to go retrograde November 9th, right? So it'll be a day after the shadow period for this full moon. Mercury retrograde will start out in Scorpio before it transitions to Sagittarius. Mercury retrograde is all about challenges to the area of communication, transportation, personal technology, as well as agreements. It's a time where you don't want to necessarily sign contracts hastily. It's not that you can't sign a contract. Salam is laying on my braids. It's not that you can't sign a contract. It's that you don't want to sign them with haste. You want to pay close attention to any fine print, right, in the verbiage. You also want to be mindful about your negotiations, right? It's so crazy because I was rewatching Sinners again the other day for like the 50,000th time. And I was just watching that scene again where Smoke was teaching the little girl how to negotiate, right? And then he went in the store and was negotiating with Grace, right? So just that idea of like, this is with Mercury retrograde, if you do have a contract coming up or you do have something that you're supposed to sign, be mindful to negotiate your worth, know your worth, be well aware of your worth. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, I don't want to say that Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is a bit easier than Mercury retrograde in other signs, because it has its own and this is why I'll do a separate video on it. It has its own challenges, but honestly, the challenges will mainly come in the areas of transportation, right? It'll mainly come in the areas of transportation. It won't be as difficult with communication, but Mercury, listen to me closely. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, challenges will come in the area of transportation. I can't say that enough. When it comes to trying to move about and move around, the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, you have to pay close attention to transportation. And thankfully, Mercury retrograde will be in Sagittarius by the holidays. Okay. So it'll be uh by the holidays it'll be done calm down, okay, but a little bit it'll be calmed down a little bit, but right now it will be super intense when it starts on the 9th. It'll be super intense when it comes to transportation, okay? So pay close attention. I'm telling y'all, I'm talking about like an increase in car accidents, dramatic, drastic car accidents, things going on with airplanes, planes being grounded, delayed flights, things like that, like very severe issues going on at the airport. Just be very, very well aware of that. So honestly, this is not even a time that I would plan major travels. Again, it'll calm down closer to, like, you know, what they call Thanksgiving now. What's the politically correct term? Indigenous Peoples Day is Columbus Day. Y'all, what's the correct term for Thanksgiving now? Now that they done reclaimed it? Now that they done reclaimed it, what's the correct term for the Thanksgiving? Indigenous Peoples Day is Columbus Day. What's the correct Thanksgiving term? But y'all know, Family Day, huh? Now that now it'll Mercury retrograde will be done calm down. Not Friendsgiving, but Mercury retrograde be done calm down by that time a little bit, right? Because it'll be done transition to Sagittarius and it'll be coming to an end. I believe it ends on the 29th, right? Thanksgiving this year falls, I believe, on the 27th. It falls on the 27th this year. So again, it'll be nearing the end and it'll already be in Sagittarius by that time. So we'll be fine. Y'all don't know what they call it. We got to wake up, my people. We got to wake up, my people. My people, we should know this. We got to wake up, huh? We got to wake up. We can't be using those old European terms to talk about Thanksgiving. They wasn't giving no thanks. They was slaughtering. So we got to wake up, my people. Huh? I'm going to find out what they call it. I'm going to find out the new name. Indigenous Peoples Day of Mourning. Is that what it is? Oh, are you just making shit up? Huh? Is that what it is? Oh, or you just threw something down on Indigenous Food Day? Y'all just making stuff up. I ain't fooling with y'all. We got to wake up. Huh? Let me go watch Hidden Colors again because I'm losing it. Let me go watch the Hidden Colors series again because I got to get back in tune. Let me go watch me a Umar Johnson video or something. I got to stop fooling up with y'all because we should know this by now. I got to memorize my terms. Anyway, I think I talked about everything. Let me see what to do. Tap into activities to help elevate your creative expression, wellness, relationships. We talked about that a little bit. Explore social relationships and issues that align with your passions and the way your passions can help be a part of the solution. We talked about that. Be intentional about practicing new traditions and rituals centered around elevating your wellness, comfort, and normalizing and prioritizing your personal holistic wellness. We talked about that. Assess your, whoa. Okay, this one. That's why I'm glad I ran through my list, my notes again. This one, assess your relationship and connection between the material possessions, social relationships, political values, and morals. Let me tell y'all something here, because this is one of the things now. I love my Taurus. I love my Taurus. But one thing about Taurus is they love them some material possessions, huh? They love to flex. They love to stunt. One thing about a Taurus, they're going to set a goal to come up just so they can shit on these hoes. That's Taurus energy. Taurus energy, they will set a goal to come up just so they could come back and stun on these hoes. Taurus is that they gonna try to have the best car. They're gonna try to dress the flyest. They're gonna make sure remember the guy, black folk. Y'all remember the video of the guy who was at the Whataburger? He had the LRG on. He was like, I ain't fresh. I ain't fresh. So I ain't fresh. That's Taurus energy. So I ain't fresh. So I ain't fresh. That's Taurus energy. That's Taurus energy. Let me upgrade your automatic. That's Taurus energy. One thing when it comes to that, the full moon in Taurus opposing our sun in Scorpio, also squaring Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius, we all will be called to assess our relationship between material possessions, that's the full moon in Taurus, our personal internal morals and values, that's that sun in Scorpio, as well as social issues, our social political morals and values. We will all be called to assess that relationship. Do they all reflect each other? Does your attachment to material possessions really align and reflect to your spiritual journey, reflect to your spiritual relationship, reflect your morals and values, as well as your political and social beliefs, morals and values? Do they all align? Do they all reflect each other? That is what we will all be called to assess during this time. And it's no judgment. Some folks claim they don't value material things. Some folks claim that they don't really care about stunting and flexing and all of that. But deep down, and based on how deeply attached and connected you are to material things, it's not adding up. It's not adding up. It's not adding up. So you will have to assess, and it's your business. I'm not judging you. It's your business, but you will have to assess, does your relationship with your material possessions actually reflect your spiritual and social political values? Okay. Does it all reflect? That's what you will have to reflect on. Come on, Thalia. Oh, my cousin name is Thalia. Thalia, what you Panamanian? You Latino? My cousin name is Thalia. Material girl. Material girl. Where's Santana at when you need him? Where's Santana at when you need him? Okay, that's all the material people. This is your time to really reflect on what you're doing. Now let's get into these journal prompts. Okay. Let me drink my water first. And wellness community, y'all already have these journal prompts. Like I said earlier, the intention for the wellness community this month, every month we set an intention. The intention for us this month is for us as a whole to elevate to our next level. This is next level November. So all of these journal prompts are centered around identifying what that next level looks like for you and what practices and rituals you may need to implement to get there. And keep in mind, with this full moon in Taurus, the goal is to release any practices, rituals, traditions that are keeping you complacent and stopping you from getting to your next level. Okay, you said you're Jamaican. Come on, Jamaica, Jamaica. Okay. Now, journal prompts. Let's get into it. Number one, what area of holistic wellness do you have a lot of knowledge in? What research have you done to validate your knowledge with facts? Cite your sources. And the reason that we have this journal prompt to start it off is because, like I said, the first thing you need to do is identify what your next level is and what area of holistic wellness do you want to focus on elevating to your next level in, right? So for the wellness community, I split it up into two, where we will have a mastery focus area. So the mastery focus area is the area of holistic wellness, whether spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical, that you already have a lot of knowledge in, that you are already consistently practicing in, but you want to move to mastery level in, right? So in order to identify what that area is for you, you have to first identify what area of holistic wellness do you have a lot of knowledge in, and has that knowledge been validated with facts as well as practice, right? So again, first journal prompt: what area of holistic wellness do you have a lot of knowledge in? What research have you done to validate your knowledge with facts? Cite your sources. Second journal prompt: what does mastery level of this area look like? What practices do you need to consistently practice for you to elevate to a level of mastery in this area? Again, this is your mastery focus area for holistic wellness, okay? Third journal prompt: what is an area of holistic wellness that you want to elevate your knowledge in? What type of knowledge are you seeking in this area, and how do you plan to attain it? Documentaries, articles, books, podcasts, etc. are some examples of ways you can attain knowledge. This goes to the second focus area. So the first focus area is our master focus area, the area of holistic wellness that we want to master. The second focus area, which this question is focused on, is our knowledge focus area. This is the area of holistic wellness that you don't know much about, right? You may have been so focused on spirituality that you haven't taken the time to actually learn a lot of knowledge about emotional wellness, emotional intelligence, or you might not have taken a lot of time to study mental wellness, right? You may not have taken a lot of time to study physical wellness for you, right? So what area of holistic wellness do you want to learn more about? That is your knowledge focus area. So for our next level, November, for the wellness community, we will have two focus areas: the mastery level focus area and our knowledge focus area. Again, the knowledge focus area is just an area that you want to learn more about, and you're going to dedicate some time to studying. And then your mastery level focus area is the area that you already have been studying a lot. You already have a lot of knowledge in. You may already be doing some practices in this area, but you just need to take it to the next level so that you can master your wellness in that area. Okay. So again, the third journal prompt: what is an area of holistic wellness that you want to elevate your knowledge in? What type of knowledge are you seeking, and how do you plan to attain it? Examples: documentaries, articles, books, podcasts, courses, etc. Okay. Fourth journal prompt: what is an area of holistic wellness that you feel like you have already mastered? How do you plan to teach what you have mastered to others? And this is not for everybody. This is for people who have been on a wellness journey, an intentional wellness journey for a while, right? But when you are on a holistic wellness journey, you may get to an area of your wellness where you already have not just a lot of knowledge, but also a lot of practice. You know, like the back of your hand, what wellness looks like in this area for you. And you can now start teaching about this area of wellness. If you are in that space, what does it look like now that you have mastered that area of wellness for you? Taking it to the next level looks like becoming a teacher in that area, right? So what does it look like for you to become a teacher in that area? What does it look like for you to build community and to pour back into the universe, pour back into the divine flow, the knowledge that you have gained from mastering this level of wellness? And again, this is not for everybody. This is for people who have been on their journey for a while and who have gained that not just knowledge, but that practice, learned from it, and have somewhat started to master it, right? And then the fifth journal prompt: how do you balance being a student of life and a teacher through life? What does being a mastery student and master teacher mean and look like for you? Because one thing about the wellness journey is that it's cyclical. It's cyclical. And as soon as you master one area, you become a baby student in another area. And that's the beauty of the wellness journey. Soon as you become a master teacher in one area, you return right back to being a baby student in another area. And this is why we have two focus areas, right? This is why we have our mastery focus area and our knowledge focus area, because we never want to get too big for our britches, right? We never want to be so focused on mastery that we forget that we know nothing about this thing, right? We never want to get so focused on thinking we know it all about this one that we forget that you have a long way to go over here, right? And that's how we keep that divine balance. Yes, you can be a master teacher over here, but what area are you a baby student, right? Who are your master teachers over here? What are you doing to continue to grow yourself? So, what does it look like to balance those two? What does it look like for you to balance being a master teacher and a forever student, right? How do you keep those two aligned, right? Your teacher energy and your student energy. How do you keep them aligned and working together, right? And again, that may look different for different people, but also there are a lot of common areas, right? I know for me, and I think a common area for most people, a part of balancing being a master teacher and a forever master student is deep understanding, right? Wellness community, we talked about this the other day, where shout out to Pena. Pena was acknowledging how I give people a lot of grace. Like, you know, the wellness community has been around for almost 6 years now, right? Well over 5. We'll be 6 years in February. We've been around for almost 6 years. So we have a lot of new people who come in all the time. And Pena, who has been in a tribe for a while, notices, and many other people who have been in the tribe for a while notices that sometimes the questions can get repetitive, right? Because there are new people coming in all the time. So Pena was just acknowledging like the patience that I have with people coming in who are new. And the reason I have that that level of patience is because I never forget what it's like to be the new person entering the new space and having the beginner questions, right? And you know why that is? It's because I'm always intentionally the new person entering the new space with questions. Anytime I get too complacent, anytime I get too comfortable, feeling like I know everything over here and I've mastered over here, I intentionally go seek something new. I intentionally go try a new thing, a new practice. I dabble in a new area. I don't care if it's a new type of yoga. I don't care if it's a new type of breath work. I will go learn about a whole new religion just to keep myself a baby student, just to always remember what it's like to know nothing and to know the journey of growth in knowledge, right? And that's what helps me as a master teacher be graceful and be patient with students, because I too am the student. And I think that's universal. I think that a part of the balance between master teacher and master students is understanding. They both give you understanding, and understanding leads to grace, and grace leads to kindness, right? So a true master teacher is a kind teacher, because a true master teacher understands grace, because grace comes from understanding, and understanding comes from them constantly being a forever student, right? So that's a part of like the journey for me. But again, y'all assess what it looks like for y'all, right? Like, what does it look like for you to balance those two? Okay. Now, crystals and herbs. Now, with these crystals, all of these crystals are centered around emotional security, safety, grounding, just that Taurus energy, right? And of course, you can meditate with these crystals. You can add them to a mojo bag. But honestly, with these, I suggest that you meditate with them. Take some time to meditate with them. The first crystal is going to be hematite, and hematite is all about grounding and emotional security. The second crystal is going to be labradorite, and labradorite is also about emotional clarity, emotional security. The third crystal is going to be fluorite, and fluorite is all about focus and clarity. The fourth crystal is black onyx, and black onyx is about protection, mental and emotional clarity. And the fifth crystal, definitely aligned with Taurus energy, is going to be emerald or green aventurine or malachite, right? And those will be centered around easing anxiety, increasing empathy, again, going to that Pluto square, that Pluto retrograde square, being more aware of social issues, having more empathy. So increasing empathy and protecting your abundance, right? Because again, this Beaver Moon is all about preparation for transition. So as you prepare to transition to your next level, you want to be mindful to protect your abundance. And the abundance is not always about physical things, but the abundance of knowledge you have, the abundance of experience you have. You take all of that with you to your next level. right? So, yes, you are new at your next level, but you're not coming into your next level empty handed. You're coming into your mastery level with knowledge level experience, and you're coming to your knowledge level with mastery level experience from another area. You see what I'm saying? So, protect your abundance of energy, your abundance of knowledge, your abundance of time that you have invested in learning. All of that, the green aventurine, the malachite or emerald, is all about protecting that abundance. And then we're going to do herbs, okay? But running back through the crystals one more time: hematite, labradorite, fluorite, black onyx, emerald, green aventurine, or malachite. Any of those three will work. Herbs. Now, with these herbs, these are all herbs that are centered around protection because, again, preparation for transition involves a lot of protection, protecting your energy, minding your emotions. So, minding your wellness as a whole. So these herbs will be centered around protection. And with these herbs, you can add them to a mojo bag. You can do a smoke bowl with them. You can set your home with one of them, which would be the sea salt. But I definitely advise that you add them to a smoke bowl or do the mojo bag with them. So herbs: mugwort. Mugwort is good for protection for empaths specifically. Mugwort is good for emotional protection and energetic protection for empaths specifically. And again, going with that Pluto retrograde square, right? Where people will be challenged to be involved with social issues and politics and things like that, right? It's also good for spiritual travels. So mugwort is good for protection during like astral projection, daydreaming, things like that. With Neptune retrograde sextiling, there will be an increase in visioning. There will be an increase in daydreaming. There will be an increase, of course, in night dreams, intuitions, all of that, right? So it's good for spiritual projections, or excuse me, for protection during spiritual travels. Okay. The second one is blackthorn. Blackthorn. Blackthorn is good for protecting you against negative energy, especially negative energy surrounding people trying to project their own doubts on your goals and their own doubts on your journey. Blackthorn is good for protection from that. And with blackthorn, you can smudge with that, or again, you can add it to the mojo bag. The third herb is holy thistle. Holy thistle, or also known as blessed thistle, right? Thistle, blessed thistle, or holy thistle is good for protection and purification, all around protection and purification, right? So this is a good herb for you to smudge your home with. This is a good herb for you to smudge yourself with. You can also make a tea out of this. It's a bit spicy, but you can make a tea out of it. It's it reminds me almost of like rosemary a little bit. Sea salt for protection and purification. We know sea salt protects you against negative energy, the haints and things like that. So you can sprinkle sea salt around your home. You can also add sea salt to the bottom of your smoke bowl. Okay. And then sea salt is also good to protect you when you are traveling as well. Okay, so you could put sea salt under the mats of your car, like your floor mats in your car. You can sprinkle sea salt under there. And then horsetail for that Saturn sextile. Again, Saturn is our planet of boundaries and restrictions. It's retrograde, bringing some challenges to that area. But the sextile brings us a complementary energy. So we will be challenged to move outside of our comfort zone in order to get to our next level. Again, releasing some of those practices, traditions, rituals that are no longer aligned with you and that are keeping you complacent. That will kind of you'll be challenged to move out of your comfort zone, but it'll be easy to do that. And horsetail is all about protecting you as you transition and shift in your boundaries, right? Horsetail is good for setting boundaries. It's all about securing your boundaries. It's good for protecting your boundaries. So horsetail is good for that. And with the horsetail, I heavily advise that you add this to a mojo bag, but this is another one that you can smudge with as well. Okay. So running back through the herbs again: mugwort, blackthorn, holy thistle or blessed thistle, some people call it, sea salt, and horsetail. Okay. Those are the 5 herbs. All right, family. I love y'all dearly. Keep in mind that this full moon in Taurus peaks on November 5th at 8:20 a.m. Eastern time. We are already in the shadow period of this energy, and it will last until November 8th. Okay, so you have all of that time to really practice your release. And as far as release, again, I can't tell y'all enough. One thing about Taurus energy is that it is safe, it is secure, it is comfortable, right? It is comforting. So yes, this is a preparation moon to a transition, but it's comfortable, it's safe, it's easy, right? So it won't feel difficult. So this is not a full moon that you need to do too much in order to release, right? Like if you want to do a burning ceremony, you can absolutely do a burning ceremony, but you will kind of just naturally move and flow with the release. I can't say that enough. You will naturally move and flow with the release. It'll just feel easy. If you are truly following your intuition and you are moving intuitively, and that may be the only challenge for some people who don't trust their intuition. If you are truly following your body's natural rhythm and intuition, you will naturally evolve out of practices, rituals, thought patterns, things that are keeping you complacent in your wellness, and you will naturally evolve into new thought patterns, rituals, and practices that will kind of help you elevate to that next level. It'll feel natural. So this is almost a full moon where y'all ain't got to do too much. Just the follow your intuition. You don't have to do too much. Follow your body's natural flow. When you find yourself waking up earlier than you normally wake up, don't force yourself to go back to sleep. Follow your natural flow. When you find yourself desiring to do the new thing or not do that old thing, do not force yourself into or out of it. Follow your divine flow. That will be the only challenge during this time, right? So again, you don't have to do too much. Just embrace that Taurus energy of being grounded, feeling super connected, feeling super safe, aware, and intuitive, right? With this full moon and that Neptune sextile. Okay, family, I love y'all dearly. Happy full moon in Taurus. Be well, be well, be well, and be intentional about being well. Much love, y'all.